Here in the South, we've learned to hate kudzu. This vine covers everything in its path with a luscious green death mat. Kudzu is the poster child for invasive species in the South, and it's a classic tale of human hubris. We deliberately planted it, and it got out of control. But now that it's here, should we just start using it? Rudy.
Pretty good, yeah, but kind of sweet.
That's what Justin and Lauren think we should do. They make kudzu hot chocolate, they weave kudzu cloth from the vines, they process starch from the roots. They're huge kudzu fans, and they want us to love it too.
You know, I look at this kudzu patch, that to me is a bank of resources going into the future.
Kudzu's story in the United States began in 1876 at the first American-hosted World Fair in Philadelphia. The same World Fair that introduced Americans to ketchup and the telephone. Plant catalogs started selling kudzu, calling it the most remarkable hardy climbing vine that should be planted by everyone desiring dense shade. But it might not have become such a monster if it wasn't for the federal government. In the 1930s, agriculture in the South was in trouble. Intensive tobacco and cotton farming had depleted nutrients in the topsoil, and farmers started harvesting timber for extra cash, which further depleted the soil by causing erosion. Farmers needed something to anchor the soil. And to the federal government, kudzu seemed like a good solution. Its extensive root system and nitrogen-fixing properties would heal the soil and also feed cattle with its nutritious leaves. So the Soil Conservation Service paid farmers to plant their land with kudzu, eventually handing out 84 million seedlings. But by the 1950s, farmers realized they couldn't easily make money on kudzu, and most of it was plowed under or eaten by livestock. The only place where kudzu really thrived was along highways, where it had easy access to sunlight, and it quickly dominated. So instead of being the solution to our erosion problems, kudzu became an uncontrollable weed, putting pressure on a number of rare species found only in the South. But Lauren and Justin want us to change our minds about kudzu, so we're visiting them in Sylva, North Carolina to harvest some. So Justin, here we are in this beautiful kudzu patch as far as the eye can see. What's the plan?
So we're gonna see if we can find some kudzu roots. I suspect we will. Just in this area, there's probably maybe 100 kudzu roots.
Some cutting.
You reach that one there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So satisfying. And some digging. We pulled out a kudzu root. Ooh, what do we got?
Nice
That is
one.
huge.
Wow. One of the really amazing things that I like to share with people that really made me start to rethink kudzu was that in the places where it comes from, just about every single part of the plant is used in a really big way, not just like little craft items, but like as a staple food and like a big part of traditional Chinese medicine. They use hundreds and hundreds of herbs, and kudzu is one of the top 20.
So it's an untapped resource that we just need to change our mindsets about.
I think so. Change our mindsets was one, and then learn kudzu culture, which is like, you know, how to work with the plant, how to harvest it, when to harvest it, what to harvest, how to use it, how to appreciate it, how to make art and beauty with it.
So we've got our kudzu root from the field and we've cleaned it, and then what happens?
Then we chop it, we'll shred it, and then we will pulverize it so that the starch and juice starts to separate. And then we'll go through a rinsing and settling process to then get the final starch.
The starch is really quite magical stuff.
It's used as a thickening agent for sauces. You can make this really jelly kind of noodle with it. Jams or jellies and desserts, pastries and breads. It's an existing abundant crop, and we have this bias associated with it that to see the value in it, you have to overcome that bias. And to do that, you have to learn what other people have done and what people are still doing today in areas of the world where the plant is native.
You know where this is going, right? If we all start eating kudzu, then maybe we could keep it in check. Well, we talked to Owen Carson, the president of the Invasive Plant Council, and he sort of threw cold water in our faces. Not really, but kinda.
It's ultimately not a problem that we can eat our way out of. It's a really deep-rooted issue, pun definitely intended, in Asia where it originates. There are natural controls there that work against kudzu, so there are other plants that suppress its growth. There are fungi and pests and pathogens. They're all native to that part of the world. And so that's one of the biggest issues is when you remove a plant from its native ecosystem and put it in a place that has very similar climate, similar resources, but none of those biocontrols, it's gonna go crazy.
A 2005 study found that invasive plants and animals cost the U.S. $120 billion in damages every year. They outcompete native plants for resources, spread diseases, and are the leading cause of animal extinction and population decline. Kudzu itself isn't even the worst of our invasive species. We think of kudzu first because it's what we see along the highway. But if you look deeper into forested lands in the south, you'll find things like Asian privet, which covers 3.2 million acres, an area roughly the size of Connecticut. Or take Oriental bittersweet in the Appalachian Mountains.
It pulls down mature forests. It creates these vine environments called lianas that are suppressive to biodiversity. The food that bittersweet offers to native birds is of poorer quality than those of native fruits. You have all sorts of disruptors extending out into the ecosystem from a plant like that.
So if we can't eat our way out of this problem, what should we do about it? Well, hey, here's an idea. Don't plant these plants. Thankfully, you can't buy kudzu at a greenhouse anymore, but people still ask the folks at Kudzu Culture if they have any seedlings.
We think kudzu's a great plant, we love everything about it, but there's already plenty of kudzu.
But there are hundreds of invasive plants that you can still buy from a greenhouse, like privet. In the meantime, yes. Let's drink the kudzu Kool-Aid, or in this case, kudzu hot chocolate. Seems like eating the plant that sort of ate the South is good karmic justice. And hey, plant people, check out the list of invasive plants you should avoid buying below.